On today's show, we've got some Penguin and Alfred casting, and then on top of that, what about Harvey Dent? We're going to name some folks we think should get the role, and back to Fantastic Beasts. What's the latest? We're going to update you in just a moment. Hello, everyone. We are making your dreams come true today on Collider Movie Talk, because guess what? There's no call sheet. We're not going to do the call sheet today. We are going to roll right into our discussion topics today. And we've got a great panel for you. Scott Menzel and John Rocha.
Hello.
How goes it, guys?
I'm great. Happy to be here. Always excited to be here with you too.
I love that Pixar shirt. It's fantastic.
I know. Like I feel like you're like shaming our button-ups right now because it's not as cool as that one.
Yeah, dude.
I had to stand out a little bit.
As always.
We have some very hot topics today because we had a lot of Batman news drop yesterday, specifically that Colin Farrell is currently in negotiations to play the Penguin. And then if that deal goes through and this other deal goes through, he could be joining Andy Serkis in the movie, who is also in talks to play Alfred. You guys hear this news yesterday? I mean, I know we've been talking about the Penguin for a little while, but for whatever reason, Colin Farrell for that role never crossed my mind whatsoever. Are you in the same boat as I am?
Oh, never in a million years did his name come across my mind for the Penguin. But that being said, I can totally see him in this role and nailing it. I really can, because he's made such transitions in independent films. I think of the Killing of a Sacred Deer. I kind of see that character a little bit as the Penguin. Of course, less creepy, but
yeah. I mean, certainly when you look at what they're doing with the Penguin now, he is if they're going to go with the Penguin that is running the nightclub and is the arbiter between the underworld and Gotham and the heroes, then you need someone who you could believe could be a smooth, charming guy running a nightclub, right? We saw, I forget the actor's name in Gotham, younger guy, skinnier. Robin Lord Taylor. Skinnier guy, younger guy. So certainly, once again, in charge of that club, that kind of idea. So this is a different type of Penguin. This isn't what we see with Burgess Meredith or with Danny DeVito. This is a new approach to the Penguin to make him a little more of an interesting character, complex character. So, and there were a lot of rumors going around that people were turning down the Penguin role because it wasn't big enough or it wasn't what they were looking for. But casting Colin Farrell lets you know that maybe that wasn't the truth. That the truth was they were trying to find the right person to slide into this to be this kind of character they want to do with the Penguin, because you're going to make this kind of radical change. You got to cast a good actor that can make it believable.
On the one hand, I can understand folks passing on a role when it's not the big starring role, or passing on a role in a superhero movie when it's all that pressure and you just don't want to deal with it. But isn't it kind of like the best of both worlds? I mean, you're working on a Matt Reeves Batman movie, and even if you don't have the biggest role in the world, it does sound like a project you probably want to be associated with right now.
Yeah, I would think so.
And not only that, I feel like with how much DC has redeemed themselves over the last couple of years, there's probably going to be either a spin-off movie or sequels that go along with this. So, like, why not jump on board now?
Yeah, and I find it interesting, too, when you look at Colin Farrell here, and then, of course, Andy Serkis. I love the idea of Andy Serkis being involved in this, too, because Andy brings, once again, this cast all around, from Pattinson to Dano, all the people that are involved in this situation, Zoe Kravitz, they don't come with like, we can put butts in seats. It's more, we're really good actors with good resumes, both independent and mainstream films that have been successful all around with what they've been able to do. So putting this cast together, to me, shows an approach that Matt Reeves is taking that is maybe the most serious approach to a Batman film I've ever seen.
I don't know about the most serious approach, but I like the fact that every single character has been cast with an actor that shows me that we're going to get a new layer to all of these familiar characters. But, you know, you bring up the butts and seats thing. I think it's a smart idea for Warner Brothers to cast the best, the most interesting, the folks who could bring the most out of these roles. But who out there even guarantees butts and seats anymore anyway? That's why I think this is the right path to pursue.
But I also think, you know, it's interesting seeing this cast kind of unfold, and going to your point about the butts and seats. The thing is, when you take a movie like Joker and you have Joaquin Phoenix, most people do not know who Joaquin Phoenix is. So now they know who he is because we live in our bubble in our film world where we know who he is, but most people didn't see most of his work. So now he's become a household name because of that. And these actors in a lot of ways are the same. Not a lot of people really know who Paul Dano is. We know it because we live in our bubble. But that's kind of what I see from this.
Well, I think that's why you lead with Pattinson.
Yeah.
Because Pattinson has a a track record of putting butts in seats with the Twilight stuff.
Yes.
So you lead with him. And if you haven't seen The King yet, I know Perri, we talked about it. You got to, he has maybe 4 or 5 scenes. He's incredible.
I heard he's the best thing about it.
Well, I don't know about that, but I certainly think he's one of the essentially good things about it. And when he shows up and plays the character, the Dauphin that he plays, you're just like shocked that Pattinson can do this. And then it gives you hope or excitement rather, of what he's going to do with the Batman.
That is one of the coolest things about almost every single person on this cast list right now is that they have such a wide range. I mean, even look at what Colin Farrell's done between, playing, darker. I love that you brought up Killing of a Sacred Deer because now I've got that ingrained in my mind and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But, even Pattinson, I mean, look at his resume in the past 4 years alone. He can do just about anything. And I think you actually see like almost the entirety of his range in The Lighthouse. So if you need any more convincing with him, go see The Lighthouse because that is one heck of a performance. The only one at this point that I'm still on the fence about a little bit, but I have a lot of faith in, is Zoe Kravitz, just because most of the things that I've seen her in, I think she's underutilized or doesn't get a role that is equal to what she's capable of. But Andy Serkis is another great one to look at because we always sit here and applaud him for his motion capture work. There are tons of films out there where you see his face and he is phenomenal in them. My favorite of which is 13 Going on 30.
I was just going to say, you compare 13 Going on 30, the sweet Andy Serkis role,
it's so good.
to Caesar, and then throw in what he does as Ulysses Claw in the Black Panther series and in Avengers. He is scary. Those forearms are unsettling as hell. I haven't seen forearms that unsettling since Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. So you're just like, this is an interesting cat that can play all these different things. And so you're like, okay, this once again makes it exciting, makes it different, makes it new, and you feel like electricity from this cast, and I like that.
And I like to see him kind of branch out more because I think it's like he's become known as the guy for motion capture.
Right.
So to see him kind of take on more and more roles is something that I'm happy about. I'm also very happy that he's also directing more because I know his first couple of directing efforts were not very well received, even though I liked them. I know a lot of people did not, but I would like to see him kind of still do that as well.
So we have solidified that we are all very excited for all the individuals that have been added to the cast of the Batman.
Still iffy on Zoe Kravitz. I'm with you on that.
All right. The question I have for you guys, though, because we kind of played this game with Joker, where, yes, Joaquin Phoenix was our headliner, but then they add folks like Zazie Beetz, who I think had a significant role, but someone like Brian Tyree Henry, who is in the movie for a hot second. Should we be bracing ourselves for that kind of result with specific folks added to this project, too?
Not for these type of characters. I feel like these are central characters. With Joker, we always knew that the focus was going to be on the Joker character. So I understand why the other ones were secondary. And this one, they may not get that much screen time this time around, but they're going to play a role into the future of this universe.
Yeah, and I think it's so weird to me because I don't have that vibe that I've had with other superhero movies where you're like, there's too many villains, there's too many. This feels like Reeves is wanting to populate this world with these characters, with these actors, so it feels very lived in. And also, if you're going to do Long Halloween, this makes so much sense if they're going to follow that storyline to have all these people involved in certain chunks. And I think this is why you cast the way you cast, because if there's still limited screen time, they're going to have an effect on you, right? I just mentioned Pattinson in 4 scenes in The King. He stands out, 3 scenes maybe even, and you go, okay, I remember him from the film. So that's why you cast Dano, you cast Colin Farrell, you cast Andy Serkis, you cast even Zoe Kravitz. You want to remember them with the limited screen time if you give them. And I think that's what's going to happen here.
I sort of think like, I know it's not going to be campy like the series was,
Right.
But I'm thinking about like the way that the villains always came together on that series, the Adam West one.
Yeah.
So like maybe is that what they're working towards?
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of excited about.
I would want to see that.
Yes.
I don't know how they can make that happen in a way that best suits the tone of the movie that I'm envisioning at this point, at least.
Right.
I mean, all this talk, I can't wait to see something like, I mean, even just some concept art, anything, like a little more, concrete details to kind of put this all into focus. But before we even get there, our second topic today is another Batman story, because apparently they are going to be casting a Harvey Dent in the near future also. So the reason that we're bringing this one up is because after all this news broke yesterday, Justin Kroll of Variety tweeted, "Did hear a certain member of the Roy family was asked to play the Dent role, but they ended up passing." So we're going to get into a little dream casting for Harvey Dent, Two-Face in just a minute. But he says the Roy family. Who do you think it was?
I don't know. Who do you think, Scott?
I really don't know.
Yeah?
I have no clue. What do you think?
Jeremy Strong. That would be my bet. You know what he's talking about when he says the Roy family, right?
No, I don't.
All right, I'm newly obsessed with Succession, but it's Succession. It's the Roy family in Succession.
I just started the other day.
It's so good.
Episode 1. I watched the pilot.
Good.
Yeah.
And I'm in, but none of those people, I think, could play
You have
Two-Face.
only scratched the surface of that show.
Because I love Matthew McFadden from Ripper Street.
See, that's what we were discussing yesterday, that he might have been the one.
McFadden has played some strong characters in British television and films before, so you don't get him confused with the characters playing here. I mean, Brian Cox would have been an excellent Two-Face, for God's sakes.
Brian Cox is good in any role. Like, I would have watched Brian Cox in any part in the Batman.
I love an old Penguin role with Brian Cox as the Penguin recounting his life or one last criminal adventure. But yeah, I don't know if anybody. Culkin would be an interesting choice as well.
Kieran Culkin is another one that I think could have been cast in any one of these roles, whether it's a Harvey Dent, a Penguin, or a Riddler.
Yeah. I could see Culkin as Riddler. Absolutely.
He's
My gosh.
so good on that show. But
You
the
think
Matthew
Jeremy
McFadden
Strong?
one.
Is that who you're
Yeah,
going
Is that the main guy, the main
that's
son?
That's
Okay.
the one who plays Kendall.
Yeah.
That's just the person in the cast that kind of stuck out to me first. And I don't know. I feel like after the success of Succession, they're all being teed up and probably getting offers, left and right now. And yeah, at this point, I'm just about finished with the first season.
Yeah.
He is largely the anchor of that show.
I would throw in another show that I'm about to start probably this weekend, Billions. I think Damian Lewis would be fantastic.
Oh, it's a good
as
call.
Two-Face. I think he'd be great.
So you like him, but I have a list here. So
Okay.
an article just went up on Collider.com, written by good old Jeff Snyder, and Jeff throws out a lot of names for this role. So I feel like we should put the camera somehow on the two of them, because I'm curious to get your initial reaction when I say these names. Ready?
Okay,
The first
all right,
name
okay.
on Jeff's list, Adam Driver.
Ooh.
I could see that. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
He'd overpower the rest of the cast, though, I think, Driver.
Yes, he would.
Right?
Yes,
With
he would.
his, all right.
Especially after
I like
seeing him
it.
in A Marriage Story.
All right, here's
So
the
good.
next one, Rebecca Ferguson.
What?
I like her from Poison Ivy.
Admittedly, I thought the same
Yeah.
thing. There is no reason why a woman cannot play
True.
this role, the
No,
Two-Face
it's
role.
100%
And
true,
it's,
but-
it's just like after Dr. Sleep also,
That's
and
why
how,
I'm kinda
how
like, yeah.
good she is as Rose the Hat. I mean, she's another one that I'm convinced can do just about anything.
She can. But I don't know. Not for that character.
As much as I love her, admittedly,
yeah.
I think there are better fits
Yeah.
on this list, like maybe Sterling K. Brown.
Ooh.
Oh, I love Sterling K.
Yeah.
Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites
Yeah.
here.
Anything
Yeah.
that removes him off This Is Us, I'm for. I
Do
do
you
not like
This
that
Is
show.
Us?
I do not like
Oh,
that
I
show.
love
Or
that
do
show.
you keep
You
up
would
with
like
it?
that show. You would, Scott. You're insane.
Do you keep up with it?
I've tried. It's the most manipulative show on television. I cannot give it my time.
Just like life itself.
Yeah.
Actually, so there's no embargo on Last Christmas, right? You guys were able to tweet
Yeah, I
reactions.
tweeted about it.
So it's funny to me that
Don't tell Adam, though. I mean, we
it's
don't
funny
wanna
to
ruin
me that
anything.
you didn't like that movie, but you like This Is Us.
This
and
is
you
us. It's
like
very
the
relatable.
movie.
It's very honest. And the thing that people...
Oh no,
Dude,
Rocha,
dude.
don't lean back
Dude,
that
What is
far.
honest about that show?
Okay, first of all, as someone who grew up in a household where we had foster kids and we adopted children, that storyline right from the get-go of the movie, the show,
Yeah.
that connected with me.
Okay.
And I feel like that connects with a lot of audiences as well.
Clearly,
The
yeah.
other thing that's really special about that show is that it's a show that takes place in different areas of the country. Obviously, you have the Philadelphia, New York storyline, and then you have the LA storyline. Those stories all connect with different viewers, and that's why the show is such a success.
Yeah, and I hear you. The thing is, it cops out every single time.
Why?
When it's supposed to. It cops out to the happy ending every single time. They take sayings off the wall and go, oh, these sayings, this works for me.
I don't think it always has a happy ending at all.
All right.
I don't think.
Okay.
It's the most dramatic show. Like, people cry all the time.
I know they do.
Not this season, which I think is refreshing, because I feel like this season hasn't had anything that like heavy that has happened yet.
Right.
But that last episode from yesterday was fantastic. And it's, again, a look at, you have to understand with This Is Us, which makes it special, is a lot of white audience members are not going to watch a show with black characters in like middle America. And this show has kind of been accepted all over the world, and including middle America. So they're getting introduced to those storylines in this show. And that's what makes it so incredibly special, because now they're kind of relating and understanding the perspectives of, like, maybe I shouldn't judge a person. I think, I don't know. I disagree with you. I think it's really
I feel
special.
the same way about Last Christmas. Shouldn't judge a person. Embrace your life. There's positive things going on in the world.
Where do you guys stand on life itself?
Life itself, I'm okay on it.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Next one on Jeff's list here is Daniel Kaluuya.
Ooh, I like it. A bit young, but it works actually time-wise. If you're going to play, see, my mindset is this: if they're going to play the storyline, Harvey Dent is Bruce Wayne's best friend growing up, and this thing, which is some of the narrative with Two-Face, then the Kaluuya Pattinson thing actually kind of works.
It's actually something we haven't really seen on screen with that cat. Like, that intrigues me.
Yeah, it's been played before that way in the comics. So, okay, would that be, because Hush did that as well with his childhood friend, but this is more of like a competitive nature to them and friendship. Yeah. Kaluuya and Pattinson works because they can alternate dominant and submissive in terms of status, depending on the scene with each other. And I like that idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's one of these up and coming actors, and if he got an opportunity to be in a role like this, I think it would really, solidify his career in the industry. I really do.
I think we got a suggestion in the chat right now. Daniel Logan said John Hamm should be Harvey Dent.
That's too obvious. It feels like, it's just like the Matthew McConaughey thing, right? Like, I just feel like that's so on the nose.
Wait, we have a lot of good suggestions. What about J. Scott for Real is saying Dan Stevens? Dan Stevens
is really great.
That seems spot on to me. If you have not seen The Guest, you need to watch that.
If
really
Dan
great.
Stevens goes, then you're playing more a mentor type of situation between Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne, and that could be very interesting as well.
Wait, I got more good ones here. Wow, the chat is really on fire right now. How about this from Matt Link? Would it be too much to have Christian Bale as Two-Face?
Yes.
Yes, it would.
Yes,
it would.
I don't know. I think that would be a very interesting experiment, and probably an interesting acting experience for Bale to be on one side of the coin and then go to the other.
I just wonder if it would distract audiences. Like, it would mess up with his trilogy.
It's fair. That's a fair concern.
Could you imagine the criticism about that?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like...
All right, wait, a few more names here from the chat. Death Star Kitty says Hugh Laurie.
Maybe 10 years ago.
How about from, did I say this one from Matt Link? Michael Fassbender.
No.
He could use it.
He could use it, but no.
I would love Fassbender as Batman. Down an older Batman.
Wasn't he originally like one of the people? Like,
that they were kicking around
the conversation. He had to have been in the mix at some point.
He would have been an incredible Batman.
Yes, he would.
Now he's not busy with the X-Men films, so maybe he's got free time. Let's get into his
agent needs to work on getting him some better work right now. I feel like the last couple of movies have not played to his strengths.
Couple?
Yeah.
The last couple.
I think the last thing of his that I can remember seeing that I really liked was probably Slow West.
Yes. Good film.
Yes.
Let's get into some of Jeff's, kind of like out of left field suggestions here.
No, not from Snyder.
You ready for this one? Jennifer Lopez.
No.
Jennifer Lopez?
No.
That is a no-go.
How about Melissa McCarthy?
That is a no-go.
Yeah. Nope.
That is a no-go.
Nope.
Okay, here's one that I really like. Sam Rockwell.
Oh, yeah.
He could use it. It'd be a nice change of pace from the racist characters. I would like to see him do something different.
I also
Maybe he can make Harvey Dent racist.
I've got another female option who I think could be spot on as well.
Right.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
It'd be interesting, especially on the what she did in Hateful Eight.
That one is really jumping out at me right now.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm surprised she's not being cast in like 30 things off of Hateful Eight, because she's incredible.
I thought we were going to be on a Jennifer Jason Leigh high after Hateful Eight. We were going to see her cast left and right and everything, and I don't know why that didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's her choice.
Did you see her in Atypical? Have you guys
be.
been watching Atypical?
No.
She's great in that. She's great.
Okay.
She's the mom in that.
I gotta
Okay.
put that on the list too, amongst like 100 million other things. One of the up and comer options that Jeff put on his list that I am always rooting for is Kelvin Harrison Jr.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
And he, in his write-up, I believe, specifically mentioned loose and what that could mean for him in a role like this. So, it would be casting very, very young, but he's another one that I'm just firmly convinced is capable of anything.
Oh, well, 100%.
Coming out of Last Christmas, I wouldn't mind seeing Henry Golding. I think he was absolutely charming last night and smooth AF. So I would love to see him do a Harvey Dent type of thing and then see the change as it progresses. Because if you go with a trilogy, maybe he's not Two-Face at the beginning. He progresses into Two-Face like they were originally going to do with Billy D. Williams in the Tim Burton.
It depends. Batman. It depends on the structure that they're going to go with the cast of this. Because if you go the traditional route, I can see him just like I can see Matthew McConaughey. But if they really want to mix this up, I'm going to throw out my suggestion, John Cho.
Which I think
John
that
Cho's
is what
good.
they're firmly they're digging their feet in the ground right now, and they're saying that's what this movie is, because I think every single bit of casting news we've gotten has been to a degree out of left field.
Yeah.
Someone that you wouldn't expect getting that role.
And that's why I think John Cho would be great.
Yeah. I mean, John Cho is always an excellent choice, I think, for just about anything.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one person right now that I'm really into the Jennifer Jason Leigh
Really?
thing. I think I really want to see that happen. Rocha,
Yeah,
if you had to pick just one, who would it be?
I think I like the Kaluuya choices being so
All right.
kind of interesting and out of left field, and I like the idea of a black-white dynamic in Gotham, because certainly Matt Reeves is making very clear that he wants to focus on that with Jeffrey Wright being cast as Jim Gordon and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman rather. So there's more of a diverse cast. So I like that idea.
I have one more excellent suggestion from the live chat. Carlos Lopez just wrote, if they want to gender swap Harvey Dent, what about Regina King? She's amazing in Watchmen. Oh, I'm all in on that one.
That's a good choice, but then I also think can they work in these two different comic book areas? That's something that always becomes a problem, right? For fans, it's like, oh, well, she's this character on this show.
But it's
both DC.
I know it's both DC.
It's so different, and I feel like Watchmen is doing such a specific thing right now that isn't necessarily it's definitely become event television and it's successful, but it's not necessarily a crowd pleaser. And I'm not saying that this Batman movie is going to be that either, but I feel like when you go after a specific audience and create a very specific fan base, that doesn't necessarily run the risk of confusing viewers. Like, let's say if someone was cast as Superman and Captain America. You know what I mean?
I'm going to go with Olivia Wilde for that.
That could be good.
Okay.
You don't like that, Perri?
I think it's because, I mean, can you name a movie where she played someone, a little more sinister?
A vigilante.
Oh, okay. No, that's a good, all right. No, the more I think about it, the more I'm opening up to it.
Because if you look, just look at her facial structure, I feel like it would have a very interesting tone. I'm serious.
I don't know what it is about someone's facial structure that makes them appropriate for Two-Face, but I'm still all for it.
That's why, because it has two very distinct tones, and with the makeup, I think they could do a really great job with it.
Oh.
And her eyes really pop.
No, that's true.
Lakeith Stanfield would be interesting.
Actually, that's one of the. I think that's one. Yeah, that's one of the few names that I didn't get to. That's on Jeff's list.
I think that's a great choice.
Lakeith Stanfield, he is another one that can do anything.
Yes.
Go watch 3 Lakeith Stanfield movies, and I would like to bet you get 3 wildly different characters.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have a whole bunch of really solid suggestions, and I don't know. Now that we got this,
and it's going to be none of them.
Probably.
You never know because I can't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure that someone on Movie Talk said Serkis for Alfred.
Oh yeah.
Really?
In the past few weeks. So you never know. And hopefully now that we have these two character details, we could be getting more in the very near future.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to start firming up every major role at this point.
When does this start filming?
It starts filming. Of course, this is not going to be in my endless notes right now. It's got to start filming very soon.
That's what I thought. But I apologize.
Very soon because the movie hits theaters June 25th, 2021. I believe it starts filming in it has to be early 2020.
Right. Yeah.
So hurry up, cast the rest of this film so we can start to picture everything. All right. That's it for our Batman topics, but we have more coming your way soon on Fantastic Beasts, and also we will talk about that whole James Dean thing. But first, some ads for some great Collider Video content like this.
What's up, Collider Video fans? Josh McCouga here. I'm the host of a brand new show on Collider called The Rumor Mill. Now, we're live every single Wednesday at 2 p.m., but we're live on the Collider Video Twitter, so you have to subscribe there if you want to interact live with us. If you want to throw in some rumors of your own that we want to incorporate in the show, you have to tune in live. Now, you can watch the show on YouTube later, but again, if you want to watch live with me and 3 panelists getting rowdy, giving points to each other, and just yelling rumors, you need to tune in live on the Collider Video Twitter, 2 p.m. every single Wednesday.
Hey guys, it's Riley here. Let me tell you about the Riley Roundtable. You know it, right? It drops every Thursday on Collider Conversations, and I have guests from all across the space. John Rocha, Gray Drake, Alexander Desplat came on at one point. We talk everything from movies, we talk about life, and everything in between. What do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? It's the Riley Roundtable every Thursday on Collider Conversations. You get it there.
It's so rare that people see it.
Right? So
as I'm talking about This Is Us again. Sorry about
This Is
that.
Us conversation was still going on.
It's continuing. Sorry. TV talk now.
We can keep talking about the show, or we can move on to Fantastic Beasts, because in addition, I mean, you guys are kind of split on that one.
Yes, we are.
You're
Sorry.
both big Harry Potter fans. Actually,
Right.
you're both split on that too. So just to give you a little bit of the lay of the land here, not a Fantastic Beasts fan, a Fantastic Beasts fan.
And I love the second one. I thought the first one was like not very good at all, but the second one was really good.
Because like I thought the first one was a solid start, a solid enough start,
Yeah.
and then the second one just felt like a big giant middle finger to me, and I did not want to carry on with this franchise.
It's fascinating. I mean, that's what's great about this show, right? And that's what's great about film criticism in general, is that we all have different opinions, and none of us are right, and none of us are wrong.
Right. Well, the fans will let us know if we're right or wrong.
Right, right.
They're certainly keen on doing that.
Yeah.
But I would say, go ahead. I'm sorry, Perri. Go ahead.
Do you want to weigh in on why you're so against Crimes of Grindelwald?
I agree with you. The first one was a nice, solid start. Certainly, the romance between Goldie and I forget his character. That was a really sweet romance. That's what kept me in the film.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Yeah,
right now?
no. Which character are we talking about?
The guy who runs the bakery and the girl. Goldie, isn't that the girl? Queenie. I'm sorry,
yes,
Queenie.
Queenie, yes.
Sorry, I was thinking Queen and Slim. My bad. Queenie. Yeah, their romance is what kept me in the first one.
Okay.
Right? In the second film, though, what they did with Queenie by undercutting her, making some kind of a slave to this new order, I thought they really took away her power that she had developed in the first film. It really was frustrating for me to see that. I thought they didn't use Johnny Depp well as Grindelwald, and it felt flaccid a lot of the time. And you got to have that sense of dread. If you're going to come with a new version of Harry Potter that's connected to the universe, you need to bring a little more sense of dread to the film, and I didn't feel that way. That being said, Jude Law being introduced as Albus Dumbledore is the highlight of that movie. And Eddie Redmayne, I think, is a bit of a boring lead for this franchise now. So to hear what we're going to talk about, that they're going to move this next one to where Albus is more of a lead and more taking center stage in this. That excites me.
This is how it's put in the reports that are out there right now. Part 3 is expected to put more of a spotlight on Jude Law's young Albus Dumbledore and set more action at Hogwarts. Do you think that is something that could get this franchise back on track? Because the other thing to weigh in here is Warner Brothers is apparently still planning to make good on its promise to deliver 5 films total. That right there is the biggest red flag in the world to me.
Yeah.
Yes, Dumbledore and Hogwarts does give me some hope, but I mean, it's a spin-off series with diminishing returns, and we know how hard it is to come back from that. It's like the second you see film 1 make a decent amount of money, and then the drop-off that it had with film 2, the odds of it ticking back up with 3 are kind of slim.
I'm not going to disagree with that point. I think this is the problem with Hollywood in general right now, is that they get so hooked on like a particular brand and they milk it to death. So while I will be the only one on this panel who will happily admit that I enjoyed the second movie, I do understand the fatigue that people are feeling, and then also trying to tell a story based on a book that was about this thick,
right,
and just trying to expand this world and create a whole nother universe when you already had 9 movies that people love and adore and have theme parks made out of them. So I think it's a risky move at this point. I think it's a very risky move. I think this is going to be the last chance they have to redeem this, because if fans come back to this universe now and they focus on stuff that the fans want, maybe it'll help. But I feel like fans are kind of mixed on the last 2 movies, right? Like there was people like me who thought like, oh, I like where this is going, and then there's people like you guys where you're like, I really cannot stand where this is going right now. So that seems to be the general consensus. It's either people are on the fence 50-50.
So right now they are firmly planning to continue with this 5-film arc that they set out from the very beginning. Do you let's say Fantastic Beasts 3 comes out and the worldwide total dips a little bit more. Do you think those plans go in the trash at that point, or do you think they still push forward?
No, I think they go in the trash.
Yeah, it's like Transformers, right? They had to make this adjustment after last night came back and did not make the Michael Bay numbers that it had done before. So they made an adjustment and went a new route. I think Daniel Kloves coming back to help JK write this installment, I think, excites Harry Potter fans and gives them hope that maybe they'll...
Steve Kloves.
I'm sorry, Steve Kloves. Man, my brain today. They'll adjust things to make it work and go back to the vibe of those original Harry Potter movies that made people fall in love with them. Nothing against JK. She wrote the first 2. A lot of people had complaints about the scripts in the first 2 films. And so you're like, well, you bring in Daniel Kloves, who helped her, or helped...
Steve.
Sir Steve. Damn it. Daniel Kaluuya is what I'm trying to say. Damn it. Anyway, Steve Kloves. You bring in Steve Kloves.
Him in this world too? Bring him in?
Anyway, this is us. I'm sorry, Daniel Kloves. Anyway, Steve Kloves coming in here. I really like the idea of him being a part of this, because I think it'll just get the fan base back on board for giving it another chance.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't do it, then you're like, look, these characters just don't work. Let's kill it. Let's move on. So I think they're taking a lot of positive steps. Moving Albus Dumbledore more central, maybe pushing Newt a little more down here, making it about Johnny versus Jude Law, and then have Steve Kloves here to bring a little more depth and weight to what JK's already created. I think is a good idea.
The thing I loved about the second one, and I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but like, to me, the movie always picked up steam whenever Grindelwald was on screen. And I thought the stuff between him and Dumbledore were like the heart and soul of the film. And I love Ezra Miller, and I felt like they were finally building to something with his character. But again, first 2 movies, I felt like he was very underused. Yeah. And I'm hoping that the focus shifts to him as well in this third one.
I'm betting right now that I like to have faith in everything, but I have no faith in this franchise. I just have a feeling that it's not going to work out. And rather than take like the entire, heap and put it in the trash, I think they're just going to remold it and make a series and put it on HBO Max.
That's not a bad idea.
Really?
I don't know, because I understand the desire to cling to your IPs, because there's built-in fan bases there, and especially with such a rich world like what J.K. Rowling did with the Harry Potter books and then the films that came after them. Like, you don't want to just give that up, and something new and fresh would be to put it in series format. And also, with specifically what this whole world is, wouldn't you want to just live in it longer? It makes sense to me to just extend it out for like, give me like an 8-10 episode season of something.
Yeah.
Whether it is something that pertains to Fantastic Beasts, or just I go anywhere with it. I mean, it's not just about Hogwarts. There are so many other places you could explore.
I think you can make, and I know some people might get mad, but you can make a Star Wars comparison to this. There is an entire world to explore. There's a mythology. There are centuries of stuff that was introduced by J.K. Rowling, either fully or in passing in her books to all this past that goes on with the Dumbledore and before Dumbledore. So there's so much to explore here that they could do if they wanted to turn it into a series completely separate, like The Mandalorian is for Star Wars. It's a separate thing that may connect up at moments with the overall mythology of the show, of the franchise. But with this, you can do that with Potter. Absolutely. There's and people, having worked there for a year and a half, people love Potter. People come in droves for that stuff. It still moves them because it speaks to them as kids and as adults. And so I think that's why people are upset with how Fantastic Beasts has kind of fumbled the ball here, because they want to fall back in love with this world and this universe and these characters. And you can make also, not to talk too much, but you can also ask questions like you were asking of Benioff and Weiss. Once J.K. went off the source material, which is what she had written, you wondered, like, well, they're kind of writing as they go along. Same thing Benioff and Weiss with 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones. Maybe not as powerfully without that source material. So you see that that's really important.
I also just think that, I mean, the truth is with this is that you can't live up to the hype of the original. You know, this is based on a beloved book series, and they did, you know, there was so much passion and dedication put into it. And I feel like, as much as maybe no one wants to say this essentially is a cash grab to kind of reinvent the magic of those films. And I don't think that they're ever going to be able to create that, even if they go the TV route. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just, when you have those films and it's so beloved by millions of people, unless you have someone come out and really write like really rich stories again, that you can have these new characters that you really base on, you're pulling from scraps for this movie. And I think that's what the big problem is with fans, is that they know that there's not much to go on and they want to see more of the Wizarding World, but it's never going to live up to the expectations of the first.
All right. Well, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this one. If you have more faith in Fantastic Beasts 3 than we do, and the franchise well beyond that, let us know in the comments below. We want to squeeze in an extra story today because this whole James Dean thing is very, very interesting. I'm going to tell you the basics from the Collider.com article. So apparently what's happened is that James Dean, an iconic movie star, of course, who passed in 1955 at the age of 24, he's actually been cast in a new movie called Finding Jack. It was announced that Dean will be digitally resurrected via full-body CGI using actual footage and photos of the actor, allowing him to play a role in the film. Before I toss it to you guys, a couple of reactions we have right now in the chat. JP Starlin said, I'm okay with it. The more James Dean, the better, I say. Zeno Hour says, I think it's insane and exploitative. Luke Nelson says, CGI James Dean will be a critical and commercial failure. And Carlos Lopez said, I think a CGI James Dean is insulting to living actors and potentially destroy a past actor's legacy. Let James rest in peace and his actual work speak for itself. What say you? Is this the worst idea in the world, or is there something to it?
This is a weird idea. It gives me vibes of, do you remember, God, this is going to be like a really nerdy independent thing, but do you remember about 10 years ago, there was that George Bush movie. There was like a shooting of a president, the killing of a death of a president.
Oh, yeah.
Where they took like footage of George Bush and put him in the movie. This gives me vibes of that, where it's just kind of like, it's not okay, and like they're doing it anyhow. That's how I feel about that. It's a bizarre. But what is with our obsession of this? Because was it Diane? Who's the musician who they were also talking about putting the CGI?
Well, yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Well, they brought back Tupac.
Oh,
that
my
performance,
God. Yes.
And didn't they do something? Was that in concert? Wasn't there an in concert thing too?
Yes.
Recently.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this just all seems wrong. It just all seems wrong. There's like legal issues. There's ethical issues. There's a lot of issues all across the board.
I also think what Carlos said in his about potentially destroying an actor's legacy, I don't think it'll go that far. But when you do think about it, you know, someone makes their own individual choices with their art, and you're essentially using someone's likeness and giving that individual no choice because they're not here to make any choices. I mean, that in and of itself just feels flat out wrong to me.
Well, look, 10 years ago, I would have agreed with both of you. But I've kind of come around on this, and I'm okay with it. If the estate says you can use the likeness, and this is how it works, and the estate says you can do it, then go do it. If it fails, nobody comes to see it. Guess what? Like any capitalist system and like any system of Hollywood, they're not going to do it again. So it's like if people don't want to come to it, they won't. I personally enjoyed the Grand Moff Tarkin stuff that they did with Rogue One. Not so much the Leia stuff because it felt like they didn't put as much effort into that as they did with Tarkin. So, and in rewatches, it holds up as well. People were mentioning Gemini, or the article mentions Gemini Man. That was a little weird and creepy to look at. I don't think it was quite there. But this is where we're going with the technology and what they want to do. And it was what people said back in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, when they started using Fred Astaire in commercials and Marilyn Monroe in commercials and John Wayne in commercials, where they were kind of weaved into this. People were like afraid that they were going to start bringing these people in. There was rumors about, and Brando did, if you see that documentary that came out maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Brando had himself shot in 3D in case they ever wanted to use him in the future in films, because he thought the technology was going to catch up where they'd start using actual actors who passed away in film. So some people knew ahead of time this was coming and adjusted accordingly. So I have no problem with this as long as they treat it with respect and do a good job with it. There's nothing, we see with Hardcore Henry, there's new ways to do film. So why not approach it, see what happens? But the market would tell you if there's a market for it. And if there isn't, you'll stop doing it. I don't think the sky is falling.
I'm not going to go as far to say the sky is falling, but it does feel like a little bit of a tipping point. It's like you bring up the Tarkin example. Yeah. That was for a cameo. That was for, seconds of footage. That was absolutely nothing. This is being described as a secondary role in the film. Yeah. To be able to bring someone back to that extent is completely different. And I also think a completely different example would be aging people down like they did in The Irishman. I think that was a responsible and pretty good use of the technology in that case. And when it comes to Will Smith and Gemini Man, they took a swing. They tried something new, and it was Will Smith playing both roles. Right. The fact that this isn't James Dean at all is very alarming to me. And the thought that we could be heading towards a future where we're just bringing people back and not giving a new generation opportunities is yet another thing that concerns me. I don't know. This just has like a million red flags stuck in it to me.
It's very problematic because what statement does it make about the current state of actors too?
Oh. I don't know.
No.
I just think there's
like the fact that we love our movie stars, right? We praise them, we idolize them. So could we get to a point if something like this ends up taking off, where we say I don't want this to happen anytime soon, but like whenever a Pacino or De Niro or someone like that passes, do we get them to sign on so we can do this with them? But I don't know. I just have problems because it takes away from the craft of acting. And
this is a very good point you make, Scott, because is the tech, with Tarkin, you had an actor come in and do the voice. So you're able to, who is going to really nail James Dean? We've been doing these deep fakes here at Collider, and you've seen them do, kind of come close to George Lucas, come close to things. So how close will it come to James Dean? Because as good as Josh is doing that voice of George Lucas, the actor who plays George Lucas in our deep fakes, he's not quite 100% George Lucas. Who is going to 100% be James Dean or 100% be Brando, 100% be Marilyn Monroe, and catch the nuances of what made us fall in love with them and respect their work? I think that's where it becomes a conundrum for sure. You can bring physically back in terms of the visual side of it, but can they bring the essence of the actor back? And that's what makes us fall in love with them.
It still all feels like trickery to me.
It's a gimmick.
I don't like it. Yeah, it's a gimmick. It feels like, we're talking about the obsession with IPs and bringing things back as cash grabs. That's kind of what this feels like to me too. It's not necessarily a reflection on the crop of young actors rising up. I think it's desperation among studios and filmmakers to try to find, the next big thing, even if it does take away from someone's legacy or feel like trickery. I think it's just very dangerous waters to start wading in.
That's what I don't understand. I'm sorry, again, I gotta step outside of our bubble. Who outside of our bubble is really going to care about a James Dean movie?
Well, and that's what I mean. The market will tell you, right?
Well, you know what else upsets me about this now that I think about it, and the whole tricking a viewer thing. It would be really upsetting to me if somebody out there discovered James Dean through a non-James Dean performance and didn't go back
100%.
and watch his original work. That
yes.
Like, can you imagine like the warped views we'll have on Hollywood icons if this continues and young moviegoers wind up looking at these new movies and not what made them famous to begin with?
Let me ask you a question. If they bring back Heath Ledger to play the Joker in a future The Batman movie, what's the reaction to that?
No.
Absolutely
If
not.
his estate signs off on it and they want to go forward with it because they haven't cast a Joker, obviously, in this new Batman, the Batman series, would you want to see Heath Ledger? People loved that Joker so much.
No, because
you don't
it's
think
not.
Enough?
It's not Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, now I'm thinking about all of my horror movies when like someone wants to bring a loved one back from the dead. It's not your real
Pet
loved
Sematary.
one. It's not Church. It's not really him. We have so many movies and books out there warning us of this exact. Actually, you know what? This is what I want them to use this technology for. I want them to turn a movie like this into a horror movie where they bring someone back from the dead to be in a movie, and that entity, whatever it is, winds up being like an AI killer or something and comes back and gets all the moviegoers that
or all the
are
executives
watching.
that
I don't know.
greenlit it.
All right, let's get one quick question from the live chat before we have to close out today's show. How about this one from MK Songbird? What director who has released both their directorial debut and follow-up film this decade has stood out to you the most? And MK Songbird mentions Jennifer Kent, which is a great pick. Do you have anybody else? I have one. Because we were talking about Kelvin Harrison Jr., Trey Edward Schultz. Watch out for him because actually, wait, was his first film not this decade, technically?
No, it was this decade.
What year was it?
2014.
Oh, 14. I don't know why, for some reason, I had 2009, and then I
this
started
is
to panic.
Ryan Coogler.
God, you took my answer. All right.
Sorry. No, I was. Well, no.
Go
You
ahead.
know why we know this? Because we did this in our group.
Oh,
In
right.
the group conversation.
Yes.
So I'm thinking of like all these.
Fair point. That's right.
Damien Chazelle.
Chazelle's a great choice. Yes.
So there's a lot of
Oh,
people.
yeah, you're so right.
Yeah.
No, 2015
So
for
the
Krisha.
short was in 2014.
The short was 2014.
Okay.
So Krisha was 2015. Then it was It Comes at Night in 2017. And this year, of course, we have Waves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Waves is
Phenomenal.
excellent. Please do not miss that movie
Yes.
if you haven't seen it.
You've been pushing Waves for quite some time.
I love Waves so much.
What about Jeremy Saulnier? When was his first? Blue Ruin was early 2000. Wait. All right, I'm gonna look. So
But I know-
Jeremy Saulnier did Blue Ruin in 2013. Then it was Green Room in 2015. Hold the Dark in 2018. Hold the Dark. Oh no, wait. But Murder Party was 2007. I'm not playing by the rules anymore.
Can you argue Jordan Peele? Can you?
You can
argue
order.
Yeah.
You can order. You
Get
can
Out?
definitely order.
Us? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Ryan Coogler, I think, is strong. I mean, Denis Villeneuve, who we were talking about, but he's done like
Right.
foreign
Yeah.
stuff before then,
Right.
but like more of his mainstream stuff came out all in the
Alex Garland.
2010s.
I liked Ex
Gar-
Machina.
Alex
Yeah,
Garland's a great
yeah.
pick.
I'll defend Annihilation. I like that film.
Yeah.
Ex Machina was what, 2013? I'm trying to remember dates
Yeah.
now.
2014, but
14.
yes, close enough.
I think what did it premiere at South by 2013 or something
Yeah,
like
probably
that? I
did.
don't know.
Probably
I'm
right.
trying. I'm not good with
Who did
remembering the dates.
Nightcrawler again?
Nightcrawler was Dan Gilroy.
Yes.
Is he? Was he?
Wait, yeah.
Is Gilroy?
Yeah,
Dan Gilroy would
Does
be
he
good.
qualify?
But does Dan Gilroy really qualify because he had Nightcrawler? And do you think the other two movies really lived up to
Velvet Buzzsaw and
No, never mind.
that other
Yeah.
one with Denzel
I
Washington?
did not like
think
Velvet
that-
Buzzsaw.
oh,
Oh, Roman S.
Roman,
J. Israel.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one was
fair
so
points.
disappointing. I remember seeing it at TIFF, and I was like,
points.
"Oh my god!" And then they recut it, just like the current war.
Oh.
We don't.
We got
talk about
we
those
got some
things.
good picks here, though.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we got a nice lineup of
How about
fantastic
Yorgos
filmmakers.
Lanthimos?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
With the lobster?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, I can't believe, yeah, you're so right about that. And when you look at like the volume of great films he's delivered, just how quickly they've all come at us, I mean, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
All right, I'm satisfied ending on that note. Guys, thank you so much for spending your Wednesday morning with me. Adam in the
Thank you.
booth, Thad in the live chat, thank you so much for your help. Guys, head on over to Collider Live right now because at 10 a.m. PT, They go live, and on today's show is Jane Seymour. You're not going to want to miss that. We will be back here for Collider Movie Talk tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. PT. Do not miss it. Like and share this episode, and I will see you soon.